Let's get started. Hello,
Right.
Brian.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. How's Charlotte, North Carolina treating you
I
today?
loved the Queen City. I love it.
The Queen City?
Yes, Charlotte. It was named after one of the queens or something. They call it the Queen City.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I know. That's the limit of what I know. That's the most of what I know about the Queen City. You're like, which queen was that? I have no idea.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. I'm just going to kind of read your officially bio so that folks who don't already know you can kind of get a sense for all the cool work you do. Dr. Brian J. Dixon is an online product coach. He believes that you have a message to share and an audience to serve, but sometimes technology gets in the way. It does. His
Yep.
team at the Dixon agency helps authors and speakers build and launch online courses, membership sites, and paid webinars to help increase their impact and income online. Brian believes that each of us are called to do our impossible, which he speaks about in his TEDx talk, which is a really awesome talk. He has a doctoral degree in educational technology and is the author of Online Sales Formula and is the founder of the Mentorship Academy. And you also have another new book out, right?
Yeah, we've always got something that we're working on. I've got a book called Social Media for School Leaders, and that's really to help educators who don't necessarily think outside the box. Like, how do you engage your students, parents, and donors to get your message out in a bigger way? I'm all about helping you take your message out to the people who need that message because there's so many people that are struggling. We're living these lives of quiet desperation. And we feel like inside, really, really deep inside, we have something really unique. I call that you're impossible. So we've got that crazy dream inside of us. And I saw this post on Instagram the other day, and it was like a cartoon, and it was this little boy. I have a 6-year-old boy, so it looked like a 6-year-old boy, and he literally had wings. And it was two parents, and they had a big pair of scissors, and they were cutting his wings.
Wow.
It was I'm getting goosebumps. It was so powerful. And that's kind of like what happens to us just in the course of life. We cut our own wings. We cut other people's wings. We have that sort of, what is it, that the dandelion syndrome where, like, if you grow too tall, we want to cut you down. And I don't think that's how we thrive. I think the way that we thrive is we focus on what we do best. We focus on the one thing that we do best and get rid of everything else and find people who love the stuff that we're not great at. And I call that you're impossible because we've been told, our whole society tells us, be well-rounded, be generally educated. I have more education than most people that I know, went straight through, right? And yet, the thing that I love doing, my friend and mentor Bob Beal, he says, go back to 5th grade. What did you love doing at 5th grade? That's who you are. And so in 5th grade, I was selling my G.I. Joe action figures at garage sales, and I was mixing them together, taking them apart, mixing them together, and selling them. I was an entrepreneur as a 5th grader, and that's who I am. But it took me so many years of education to figure out. Actually, I call myself an edupreneur now, an education entrepreneur.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but it took me a while to figure that out. But I think if we go back to, like, what's our core? What are we really passionate about? We can all live in that. Like, the internet has changed the whole game. You can make a generous living talking about the one thing that you want to share and encouraging people in the one way, the one thing you're really passionate about.
Okay, so I'm really interested in this idea of kind of doing our impossible. And I like that it's not just doing the impossible, it's doing our impossible because,
That's right.
everyone kind of has different impossibles. But I'm wondering if you could sort of just tell folks who haven't seen your TEDx talk what this means. Because it's so powerful and it really convicted me.
Oh, thank you so much. I do believe that we all have a message, that we are, I'm a Christian. I'm a believer. I believe that we are put here for such a time as this. We are put, how blessed are we that we're here in 2016 with the internet? It's absolutely incredible. But to him is given much, much is required. And so we've been given a message. We've been given something to share. And we're not trained on how to do that. We don't really know exactly how to do that. And we feel stuck. And I think a lot of people feel really stuck. And we choose a lesser option. We choose, I'm going to just go work at, that insurance agency, or I'm just going to go work at that big corporation. I could never make it on my own. I could never make it as an entrepreneur. And that's where people really get stuck. So I believe that we all have an impossible, something that if you really get down to it, in the middle of the night or around a campfire, or when you have a good walk in the woods, or you're on for me, I'm a runner. So for a really long run at about mile 8, like way into the run, all of a sudden the scales kind of come off and I start to believe in the life that I could have. And I have to remind myself every day, every single day, like, here's why I'm here. Here's why I'm here. And I think we need to do the soul work. And there's a lot of great programs out there for doing that. I know you have an awesome book on helping to have this great day. I know Crystal has a Makeover Your Mornings. Michael Hyatt has the Best Year Ever. Don has this whole story brand and storyline and all that. Like, there's great programs on helping you figure out what that message is. Even Chris Gillibo, like, people have great programs to go through to figure out that message. But I really believe, even those are all awesome, I think we intuitively know what it is. I think if we just took some time in the quietness of our own heart and soul or whatever, wake up an hour early and just sit there and go, what do I dream is possible? I consider Jim Rohn a mentor, even though I'd never got to know him. And he says, imagine the possibilities, number one. And then number two, imagine they're possible for you. And that's where we get stuck. We look at somebody running for office and go, man, how are they there? Well, guess what? You could do that too. You just have to do the work to get there. So we've got this something that's stuck in our brain of like, I could never be a best-selling author. I could never be a published author. I could never start a school. I could never be a dad. I could never work from home. Like, we've got a lot of our I could nevers, and I call that you're impossible. So I believe that we're called to do our impossible. And it's not on our own strength, just for clarity. Like, it's not something we can do on our own. And here's what we need. We need 3 things. We have a mission to pursue. That's the first one. So that's your impossible. It's your mission to pursue. Then we need a mentor to guide you and a mindset to see you through. Mission to pursue, a mentor to guide you, and a mindset to see you through. So it depends on what your goal is. So for me, take a look at my TEDx talk, but I was in a really big car accident and my impossible was running. And I always wanted to, like, I want my life to be one of those lives where people look at it and go, what? Like, how is that possible? I just hired a personal trainer and a new one, and he's awesome. And I texted him my x-ray. I have 26 breaks in my hip. 26 breaks. Wow. And he had already trained me for 3 sessions, and then I sent it to him.
Wow.
Because I wanted to see the reaction of like, what? Because I think that's like my favorite biblical character is the Apostle Paul, because Paul's the guy that nobody believed, because he was out there killing Christians and fighting Jesus. And then all of a sudden he basically wrote most of the New Testament. Like, he is just the shift in his life. And I think so many of us have the opportunity to have such a shift in our life. And we just live these lives where we, what is it? The old, the botched quote about, we live our lives of quiet desperation, and then we go to the grave with a song still in our heart. Yeah. And I think that's blending too, but I think that's what happens. Like, we've got the song. And so the mission to pursue is that song in our heart. It's that crazy dream that you probably don't even want to share with your best friend or with your spouse. Being married, this is something you struggle with. It's like, let's be practical instead of the big dream. Yeah. But I really do think pursuing your dream is where you're going to have the greatest success anyway. So mission to pursue, you need a mentor to guide you. You need, and I actually think it's 2 people. I call them mentors and models. So the model, so for example, the model might be, Michael Hyatt might be your model. Like, you don't know him personally. You've never met him before, like whoever your person is. Or for me, it's Jim Rohn. Like, Jim Rohn's dead. Like, I'm not going to ever get mentored by Jim Rohn. He's my model. But my mentor can be, Dan Miller or somebody like that. Like, my mentor can be somebody I know and I can check in with and ask how I'm doing and get feedback. So I need sort of like the Mr. Miyagi, like the person in my life to show me, like, I think it's about the karate chop, but really it's about the discipline. And our mentor can see that. Our model can help us set the vision. Like, That's what it looks like to have a 30-year career and 5 best-selling books and an international, following and millions of people impacted, or whatever your dream is. That's your impossible, this big, crazy goal. That's the model. But in order to get to the model, you need somebody who's maybe just a few steps ahead of you. Maybe it's your boss at work, or maybe it's, it's your mentor at church, or whatever it is, to help you kind of take those next steps. So you've got your mission. Go ahead.
No, so I was just going to say that, so it sounds like you think our mission we can find if we just sort of quiet ourselves. But how do we go about finding a mentor and a model?
Oh, I love that.
It doesn't just depend on us.
It doesn't. There's a lot of great resources for it. I think, and I think any of those great resources that get you to go through it. Another one I like is Daniel Laporte's The Desire Map.
Yeah, I have it on my shelf right here.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. And it's a little out of my comfort zone. I'm more like analytical, like I need to know the process, and Danielle's more like dream and paint, Yeah. But I think blending those and kind of like going through those different processes will help really clarify and hone what you're trying to create. It's kind of like, if you're carving something, okay, if you're doing a sculpture out of rock, like what you try to do, what's the old, I think it was Michelangelo or somebody who said, like, you're just carving away everything that's not the statue, right. And so going through that process, you're just going, not this, but a little bit more this, not this, but a little bit more this, and then I think having a model is very clear. And usually what happens is you start out with one model. So you're like, what I would love to do. Like for me, when I was just starting out as an educator, my model was Jack Canfield. I was like, Jack was an educator. He was a classroom teacher for a long time. Then he wrote a book. It started to take off. Then he started doing public speaking. Then he did that full time. Then eventually he wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul, and it impacted millions and millions of people. Mm-hmm. And now he's sort of a life coach and business coach. Like, I like that. Mm-hmm. So I started kind of going, this is the road I'm going to eventually become the Brian Dixon version of Jack Canfield.
Yeah.
But as I got closer, I went, like, he believes in reincarnation. He believes in a couple little weird things that I don't really believe in. Mm-hmm. So it's actually not Jack. It's kind of some of Jack, and it's a little bit more of Jim, and it's a little bit more of Hyatt, and it's a little bit more Don Miller. And so over time, it's Bob Goff, but I can't be Bob Goff, But I can kind of look at somebody like that and go, I'd aspire to some of that. And so over time, we sort of create this amalgamation of who our model is. And that's a defined life. Like, you get clear on the goal, and then the mentor helps you take the steps to get a little closer. And you have a mentor in writing, you have a mentor in speaking, you have a mentor in organizing your day. I have a mentor in just my Bible study. I've got this one guy, Steve, in my life, who just has such discipline when it comes to Bible study. And his life, he's a real estate investor. That's not my world at all. Right. But when it comes to Bible study, I want to follow Steve's model. Like, that's the guy to show me kind of. So it's a blend over time. But start with somebody, because here's the thing. If you find a model, it was possible for them, and it's possible for you, because we all start where we start, Where I think where a lot of us get stuck is we compare our beginning to somebody else's middle.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like, hey, I want to be like Dave Ramsey one day. Well, we compare ourselves to Dave Ramsey, and we're like, he's got 100 people work for him, and he's got a big company. Like, I can't be Dave Ramsey. So we don't even create our podcast. Right. We don't even start. Well, compare your beginning to his beginning. Compare your beginning to his card table in his living room and his little local radio show. And so call the radio stations and say, hey, could I do a little 1 hour a week radio show about this specific topic? And just start where you start. Compare your beginning to their beginning and take action.
Okay. So then this third big thing is mindset. Yeah. So talk to me kind of about this.
A mindset to see you through. You need to endure through the difficulties. Entrepreneurship is all about highs and lows. It's Darren Hardy calls it the entrepreneur roller coaster. One of my favorite Instagram posts, I'll post it out every once in a while because it's just so poignant for my life and the people that I work with. And it's basically like a start and a finish line. But the start and the finish line is not the whole picture. It's actually a start and a finish line here. Mm-hmm. And then there's another finish line and another finish line and another finish line. And every finish line, there's a progressively more difficult obstacle before the finish line. So at first, it's a straight line. It's like a guy on a bike. And then it's like a pool of infested shark infested water, and then there's a mountain, and then there's like a fire breathing dragon, and the cool thing is the finish line actually, like the flag goes higher, so it's like you're climbing up this mountain. And so I believe that if you can do better, you should do better. Like, we have an opportunity to do better. Like, I want to get better. I want people to, look back and go, like, there's no way Brian did that all on his own. Like, there's no way. And to help people aspire to something greater, because I think when we have that vision for ourselves and other people, it's contagious. It's so contagious. So that's why I believe in the mastermind principle. I have 5 guys who do kind of what I do. We meet every Friday and we challenge each other. And so we make it sound normal that we help people launch books and launch products and launch conferences and do copywriting. Like, if I just talk to my friends in my local area, like, I would probably be working at a bank. But my mastermind reaffirms my vision and says, Brian, you're normal, and way to go. Great win. Congratulations. But also, hey, we've been there through the struggle too. And so we can walk through this life together. You're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So find people you want to be more like, and connect with them and help each other reach your goal. And that's where the mindset comes in. We all get stuck, but I really believe it's in emptying out ourselves that we find our strength and we can connect to other people. Like anything that I've ever had that's sort of gone viral has been when I've been most vulnerable. When my friend Emily P. Freeman, when she talks about when there's tears when you're writing, then there's tears when they're reading.
Wow.
Like, you've got to pour yourself out. And why would you live a life of shiny happy when you can live a life of authentic and challenging?
It's a great line. Why would you live a life of shiny happy if you can live a life of authentic and challenging? Wow. This has been so incredibly valuable. I feel like you've just been speaking right to me. So this is really amazing.
Thanks, Claire.
Can you kind of share about what you're up to right now and where folks can really find you and learn more about some of the work you do?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. If you've thought about creating a product, because I believe everybody has a product. I was a classroom teacher for 7 years, and I created a product called The Internet and Your Kids. It was a DVD to help parents keep their kids safe on the internet. It was 5 steps. It was a 20-minute video. We went on to sell several thousand of those for $20 on the side, and it paid for most of my higher education. So as a classroom teacher, I could find time to create a product. I believe no matter what you do, you can create a product. So that's what I'm most passionate about. We have a program called 30-Day Product Launch, 30dayproductlaunch.com. And there's free training on there. There's a paid course on there. But my challenge to you is to go ahead and create and launch that product, because there's something so powerful about being able to serve people in a way that helps them overcome their obstacles, to help them do their impossible. And I really believe Zig Ziglar used to say, you help enough people get what they want and you can have anything that you want. And I believe that's true. Like, we help our readers, we help our followers, we help our fans, we help the people around us reach that next level or take that next step. And that's, for me, that's what it's all about, is seeing people live in their calling and thrive. And so I really believe that one of the components of thriving is having a sustainable business, and having an online product is really the thing that will make the biggest difference.
I love it. Thank you so much, Brian. This was great.
Thanks for having me.